Welcome to the Network Encyclopedia. You ever wonder what's actually happening when you click a link or type in a web address? Behind the scenes? There's this whole invisible conversation going on, a secret language that pretty much powers the entire internet. Well, today, we're going to learn that language.
So let's dive right in. Every single time you click on something online, a conversation starts up. It's this fundamental back and forth that makes the web, well, work. And today, we're going to eavesdrop on that conversation. And look, this conversation isn't just random chatter. Nope, it follows a really strict set of rules, a protocol called the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or as we all know it, HTTP. You can just think of it as the official language that your browser and all the web servers out there agree to speak. Now, HTTP doesn't do all the work by itself. It actually sits way at the top of what we call a communication stack, in the application layer. So think of it like this. You've got IP at the bottom providing the address, like the zip code. Then you have TCP handling the delivery, making sure the package gets there reliably. That's your postal service. HTTP? Well, HTTP is the actual letter inside the envelope. It's the part that defines what the message means. So what does this conversation actually look like? It's a beautifully simple model, really. Your browser, that's the client, opens up a connection and sends a request. It's basically saying, hey server, can I please have this file? The server on the other end gets the message, processes it, finds what you asked for, and sends a response back that says, you got it, here's the file, and by the way, everything went okay. And boom, once the data is exchanged, the transaction's over. It's this classic, straightforward client-server dance.
Okay, so if we're going to understand this conversation, we really need to know its grammar, right? Its verbs, its vocabulary, and all the possible replies. So let's break that down.
At its very core, an HTTP message is surprisingly simple. It's really just a block of plain text. It's encoded in ASCII, which means if you were to look at one, you could actually read it yourself. It looks kind of like a structured letter. It has a start line that says what it wants to do, some headers that give extra context, like who's sending it and what format they prefer, and sometimes a body that has the actual data, like the code for a web page.
So the request part of this whole conversation always kicks off with an action word, what we call an HTTP method, or a verb. The one you use all the time without realizing it is get. That's your browser asking to retrieve a web page. But there are others, like post, which you use when you submit a form. There's put for updating something, and delete. Well, you can probably guess what that one does. These four verbs, they're basically the backbone for almost everything we do online.
Right, so after the client makes its request, the server has to reply, and it does that with something called a status code. You ever see that 404 not found error? Well, that is literally the server speaking HTTP back to you. It's super simple. Codes in the 200s mean success, everything's good. 300s mean, hey, that thing you're looking for has moved. 400s mean you, the client, messed up. That's your 404. And if you see a 500 code, that means the server itself has a problem. It's just a really efficient shorthand for the server to report back on how things went.
Now, here's one of the most important things you need to know about HTTP. It is stateless. And what that means is the server has amnesia. It treats every single request as a totally new event, with zero memory of what you asked for a second ago. This keeps the protocol simple and strong, but it creates a huge challenge, right? If the server forgets you every single time, how does browsing ever feel fast? Well, there's a really clever trick for that. And that clever solution is caching. Your browser is smart. It stores a local copy of files it's already downloaded, like images and logos. So the next time you visit that same site, instead of bothering the server all over again, your browser just says, hey, I've got this already, and pulls it from its local cache. This is the magic that makes your favorite websites load almost instantly. It cuts down on traffic and makes everything feel way, way faster.
This constant need for more speed and better efficiency, especially in a stateless world, has really driven the evolution of the protocol. The web of the 90s was simple. Today's web is incredibly complex, so HTTP has had to adapt just to keep up.
Just look at the early version, HTTP/1.0. It was painfully inefficient. Imagine a web page with, say, 20 images on it. The browser would have to open a new connection for the page itself, then another one for the first image, then close it, open another for the second, one by one. It was so slow. HTTP/1.1 was a total game changer. It introduced Keep Alive connections, which let the browser download multiple files over one single open connection. That was a huge leap forward for performance.
But of course, the evolution didn't stop there. By 2015, we got HTTP/2, which introduced something called multiplexing. The best way to think about it is turning a single-lane road into a multi-lane highway. Now, multiple streams of data could flow all at once over that one connection. And today, we have HTTP/3, which is even crazier. It swaps out the underlying transport protocol from the old reliable TCP to a newer, faster one called QUIC. It's built for the modern internet, where connections aren't always perfect.
All right, we've covered the protocol, the messages, the verbs, how it all got faster. So now, let's put all those pieces of the puzzle together and follow the complete journey of a single click.
But first, we need to clear up one really common point of confusion: the difference between HTTP and HTML. The absolute easiest way to think about this is the envelope versus the letter. HTTP is the courier, the postal service, the whole delivery system. It's the envelope that carries the package. HTML is the actual letter inside the envelope. It's the content, the words, and pictures your browser actually reads to build the web page. So HTTP carries HTML, but they are two totally different things.
So here's the journey. Step 1, you click. Your browser does a DNS lookup to turn that website name into an IP address. Step 2, it does a quick TCP handshake to open a reliable connection. Step 3, your browser sends that HTTP GET request we talked about. Step 4, the server gets it and processes everything. Step 5, the server sends back the HTTP response, starting with that 200 OK and then all the content. And finally, Step 6, your browser gets all those files and renders them into the web page you see on your screen. And all of that happens in the blink of an eye. Amazing, right?
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that HTTP isn't the web itself, it's the language the web speaks. It's that invisible, universal translator that allows your computer and a server halfway across the planet to understand each other perfectly. From its simplest form back in the day to the super optimized versions we have now, the goal has always been the same: the frictionless exchange of meaning. Thanks so much for watching this explainer. If you want to dive deeper into how all this internet stuff really works, make sure you subscribe for more content just like this. And as always, the source article we used for today's explainer is linked for you right down in the description below.